With everything going on inside the US economy, with tariffs going into effect, talks of a potential $5,000 Doge dividend refund, and so much more, many people are asking the one question: what is going on with Social Security? Well, here's what I can tell you. There are going to be an immense amount of changes to the Social Security Administration and to Social Security itself. According to reports, what lawmakers are deeply concerned about is getting closer to the insolvency date, which they are trying to figure out ways to push that back. Here's the issue. There's so many things that are tying into this that it's making it complicated. But I want to explain some of the major changes that are going into effect right now, how you may be impacted, but what we need to look forward to in the very near future. So I'll break all this down in just a moment. I'll explain where certain Social Security recipients are getting $6,000 and more, and what you should be watching for. Okay? So again, I'll break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. Social Security and the payments that are going out to more than 72 million Americans is what everyone is discussing, because the American people know that is on the chopping block. Now, I'm not saying it's on the chopping block because of Democrats or Republicans. The reason this is on the chopping block is because by 2033 or 2034, it is projected that Social Security beneficiaries will receive a 24% cut to their benefits. So if you get a $1,000 payment every month, well, you would see $240 of that go away instantly. But look at this. Here are some other changes. It says a mystery $6,000 deposits are showing up in the SSA beneficiaries' bank accounts. But why? Well, we talked about this a few months back. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. This is the reason why. It says if a surprise payment in the $6,000 range shows up in your bank account from the Social Security Administration, it's legit. The reason why is because the Social Security Fairness Act, which was passed under President Biden, this went into effect earlier on this year. Now, the amount of people that are getting this, it's about 3 million people. The average payment is $6,710. But what you need to understand about this is going out to people that were impacted because of the WPE and the GPO, or the WEP and the GPO. Okay? Those two things have been changed. The $6,700 payments, this is back pay. Okay? Keep in mind, this goes all the way through the beginning of 2024. So if you were supposed to receive an additional $300, additional $700, that's where this money's coming from. Okay? So that's the first change. Here's the reason why I bring this up. For the 3 million people that are getting it, that's great. You get an increase. For the other, 69 million people that are not getting this large lump sum, they're probably looking at this as a way of thinking, well, okay, so all these people are going to receive an additional $6,000 plus additional X amount of dollars per month. Well, guess what? That increases the chances of insolvency. It speeds up the timeline. So now this could actually push up the insolvency date to 2032 or 2033. Potentially a whole year. That's a huge concern. So millions of people are looking at this, and even lawmakers are saying that, yeah, we need to pass this, but we should have passed this, a few years back. Passing this right when we are transitioning from the Biden administration to the Trump administration, and passing this when everyone's discussing the insolvency date, that probably wasn't a good move. But Democrats knew they had to get it done. Now here's the next one. Social Security says it will no longer accept bank changes over the phone. Now, I was reading this article this morning because somebody sent me a message, and they said that they tried to change their bank account, and the reason for this is because they end up getting a divorce, or their divorce was finalized or something. they need to make a new account. They're trying to get a new account, okay, and they need to switch their payments. Social Security Administration said no, we'll no longer do it. Okay, let me show this to you. It says Social Security will no longer process bank account changes via phone. There are two ways to change your bank info. You can do it online or in person. The agency's other phone services will remain the same. Now, what I thought was interesting when this person, said that they couldn't do it over the phone, they said that they don't have an online account. Okay? They don't have access to it. Their spouse is the one that did everything. So they have no access to it. Their next option is to go into the building and change it that way. But at this time, where we are seeing a potential cut to Social Security Administration workers, that could be an issue as well. But not only an issue when you go in, but also when you pick up that phone and you call, because there's not as many representatives there that are going to be able to help you out. So, if you want anything done at the Social Security Administration, looking forward, it's probably the best option if you do things online, but that also means you need to set up an account. So, what they said from the Social Security Administration, this was said just yesterday, it says approximately 40% of Social Security direct deposit fraud is associated with somebody calling the SSA to change direct deposit bank information. SSA's current protocol, simply asking identifying questions by telephone, is no longer enough to prevent fraud. Now, I talked about this before. I talked about people getting scammed. I talked about fraud as well. This is a huge concern from the Trump administration. They want to pretty much eliminate all fraud. But how do you do that? Well, by changing some of these policies, it's going to reduce the amount of fraud, but at the same time, it's going to create pain for millions of Americans. So just be aware that is currently happening. Here's another change that is looking more and more likely. Okay, I want to show you this. It says, as Social Security faces an uncertain future, the debate on privatization heats up again. These are the key points. I want to touch on the last one. It says, the Trump administration's plans to overhaul federal programs have prompted new focus on Social Security's future. By eliminating workers, by shutting down agencies, it should create more funding, okay? Create more savings, which is great. Less taxes, right? But at the same time, we're trying to reduce taxes by bringing in tariffs. There's a little bit of an issue there. At the same time, though, as we reduce the workforce, all those people that are laid off now are not contributing to the Social Security Trust Fund. That's an issue. Says some experts say privatizing the program could help provide better returns. And I think it could. I think if we would have done this in the Trump administration, the first Trump administration, the returns would have been incredible. Okay? The amount of that we could have made, the amount of money that was made in the stock market was insane. And Social Security didn't get to take part in that. But look at this. This is the one I really want to touch on. Others say that change could interfere with the safety and predictability of benefit payments. Here's what some are saying, and again, and I'm going to end with this. What many people are saying within Congress is it's tough to make a massive change today when Social Security is still doing right by millions of people. We're not seeing a cut coming in the next couple months or couple years. Okay, the cut to Social Security, the 24% reduction in benefits, that's going to come in 2033 or 2034. Okay, potentially 2032. So again, we still have 7, 8, 9 years. But what they are now saying is, once we get closer to that timeline, it will be much easier to pass some massive Social Security reform bill like privatizing the program, okay, because Americans would be concerned that anything regarding their payment, okay, would be in question. So they say that at that time, Americans would be more, they'd be open to the idea of changing Social Security because they want to prevent any interference, and they want to prevent the unpredictability that comes with a potential cut. So, at this time, what's going to happen with Social Security? Well, like we've seen over the past, several years, there's going to be discussions, but does anything pass? Listen to this last thing. Will Trump eliminate the federal income taxes for Social Security benefits? Well, that's part of his goal. This is the big problem. Tariffs. They're going into effect as we speak. The Trump administration is imposing these tariffs on other countries. He wants to eliminate taxes on tips, eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits, eliminate taxes on overtime income. And potentially, according to Howard Lutnick just the other day, he says that Trump wants to eliminate taxes, federal income taxes. Anybody making less than $150,000 per year. So right now, there's a lot of pushback from other countries. That's the problem. And as we see the Trump administration's agenda slow down or potentially not even go into effect, that's going to slow everything else down. So we'll see what happens, but I just wanted to share this with you because, again, there's major changes coming for Social Security. We don't know to exactly what extent, how many millions of people it's going to impact, or when it's going to occur, but we do know changes are slowly coming, and eventually this will lead to a massive overhaul of the entire administration. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but that's what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.